Okay, my name is Richard D. Cook. I'm going to try to make a little help video for anyone who's on a 24-hour IV pump that they have to carry around with them. So I'm going to show you my daily routine. First rule is always listen to your nurses. They do this all the time. I'm going to show you the IV medicine and tubing. But what I have right here is my heparin, my quarter to open the machine with, my saline solution, and a battery just in case I need it. And the paper towels are for the mess I'm going to make. This is my last dose, so I hope I can get this right. Over here on my tubing, I'm going to show you how I get the air out of the line other than just priming the pump. If I can get this set to where you can see my little area here, I'll step out. Okay, I'm going to undo my tubing here, untangle it, hang it from my little hanger here. Okay, what mainly I'm doing right now is I'm a little paranoid about air getting in the lines. I'll take off this little safety clip and I'm going to unhook this little clamp so that I can get my air bubbles out. Hope y'all can see this. This here is an air filter. So anything from the bag up to here, any air is going to be let out. Now you see me tapping the line there. Air bubbles and fluid go upward. Okay, so we give them a little boost and they move up. But those went into the air filter. And it looks like they don't have much air on the far end. Sometimes they do. And it takes a little bit, more than these little pinhead bubbles, to get it out. And those little ones there will probably be harmless, but I don't really like the idea of putting air in my vein. Okay, so that's pretty much got that. You can see on this paper towel some leaked out on it from this head. Okay, now I'm going to set everything down where I can reach it. Check my video. Okay, hopefully that was seen. I'm definitely not an audio visual pro here. Okay. Now there's where I usually sit. Get to where you can see my hands work. Okay, now I started out with a severely injured right hand, and they put my PICC line way up here in my left, so I couldn't reach it with my left, and my right hand was useless. So home health had to come out here once a day and check me out and change my IV line. Okay, now they're coming once a week now that I've got a hand I can use, and they put an extension on here so that I can reach it. But when I first got the extension, my hand was so weak it wouldn't open anything. I'm going to pull out my machine here, out of my handy little fanny pack that they give you, which is really neat for carrying extra stuff around in, like batteries and alcohol prep pads and saline solution in case you get caught out. My glasses on. Okay, now I'm only using the heparin today since this is a continuous infusion, and this is a, by the way, a CADD-PRIZM IV pump. But since I messed around and let my IV stop, if it's a few minutes, that's no big deal, but if it stops for a while, they're going to want you to flush it with some heparin. Okay, and this is a saline solution. You have to flush that every time. Batteries usually last about 2 to 3 days. Alcohol prep pads. And a quarter is my tool if you didn't get one, to open and release this cartridge of your medication. Now, this PICC line runs almost to my heart from what I understand, so I was really nervous about it at first. And I have the bandage to seal that off. And they told me virtually no lifting, no more than a gallon of milk with this arm, which I could lift almost nothing with this arm, so that made me pretty incapacitated. I use this mesh and to hold that down, and then if I'm going out in public, I'll pull a sleeve over it, or I'll put maybe a wrap of Cold-Band or something around it just to keep it, because we definitely don't want infection going into that side. And I overdid it a little one day and got some bleeding going on in here. You really don't want to do that, so whatever they tell you your restrictions are, stick to them. I was told not to get sweaty, not to overexert. It's basically sit home on my sick leave. All right, now there's a little, looks like a flathead screwdriver screw there. We're going to release this cartridge, put the quarter in, and turn clockwise, as if you would normally be tightening something, and that'll pop right out. Now my pump is already stopped, so I don't have to stop that, but if I needed it, I just hit next, it pumps up here, and I'd hit stop the pump. Okay, so I'm going to turn this clockwise to release it. And that pops right out, gives you a little beep. Set this aside. Okay. All right, now the next thing it's going to tell you right on here what to do. Cassette is unlatched. Close the clamp to prevent free flow. I'm going to go ahead and close my clamp. I actually have one right here, but I like to stay as close to my injury as possible. Okay. Click next to advance. Okay. Now, what we want to do, it says reservoir volume 0. I've let that happen foolishly. We're going to take our double dog-eared hooks here and put them to the double attachment here and push that in. I'm going to hold that with my left hand, turn my screw counterclockwise. And now that's locked in. It gives me a beep. Machine's happy. Okay. It says high volume admin set latched. Upstream sensor on. Click next to continue. Nice when they give you instructions. Reset. Now you have to go by your own dosages and all that. Mine is based on the medication that I have. It asks me to if I want to reset the reservoir volume to 110, and I do because that's what mine is set for. Okay, reservoir volume resetting. Asks me if I want to prime the tubing. Now that's the mechanical way to get the air out and make sure everything is up to the end. So I got my medicine bag right here. I don't see any air in it. There was some air headed toward this air filter here. Looks like it's already going up in there. And it has. There goes a couple little air bubbles, no big deal. Rather than sit there and prime a whole bunch of air bubbles out of this pump, I'm going to let gravity help me. As the fluid goes down and the air goes up, air bubbles rise in fluid. There goes that little air bubble. So get along there. And a little tiny air bubble like that, that's about the size of a pinhead, isn't going to do anything. I probably wouldn't bother it now that I'm a little more confident. But that's right there at the end. Now I don't have to waste so much medicine. We'll take off the cap, put that over here with the trash. And yes, I want to prime the tubing. Okay, disconnect from the patient, It's already disconnected. Hold this button down, the Y button for yes, and it's priming, and you'll see, you may not be able to see it, but some fluid will start coming out. It's pushing into the air filter there, but that won't go any further. Pretty soon it'll start coming out the end here. And I like to watch for air bubbles moving while that goes on, but really if you have to look that hard for them, they're not really doing anything. They're not worth worrying about. And there I got a little fluid coming out, so it's primed. I'm going to set that aside right there. Okay? Okay, now continue priming. No. Push the N. Auto lock not in use. Change auto lock level from LLO. No, I don't want to fool with the settings that they put on here, so I'm going to click no. Ask me if I want to start the pump. I'm not ready, so I'm going to click no. And since I click no, it's going to beep at me every few minutes to remind, because this thing's supposed to be running all the time. Okay? All right, I've got my extension here. I'm going to disconnect my extension. I'll move this back over here with the trash. Okay, I don't need my quarter anymore. I want everything completely clean. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put the heparin in since I let it stop. And the heparin, you have to pull back to break the seal. You hear that pop. And then I like to click it to make sure there's no air in there. And I push forward until it comes out. Now there should be no air there. Okay. And I'm going to rub that down with my little alcohol pad at both ends that I'm connecting. Other fingers. Okay, set the alcohol down. Push in and twist till that's sealed. Okay. Now up in here, I want to make sure, I don't know if you can see that, but I want to make sure that my line is nice and clear, that there's no clots or anything in here, so I'm going to draw back on this, okay? And a little blood, well, my clamp's on. If anything's not going smoothly, your clamp is probably on. Okay, I'm going to draw back a little bit. Blood ran into there, I'm going to push it right back out. If you've ever been in the hospital, a lot of times you'll see a little blood in your IV and they'll have to come flush it out. If I'm paranoid about air, I'm going to turn this nozzle down, because then the air goes up there. And I'm only going to put in 2 milliliters of heparin. My original instruction said 1, but in the training they gave me, they said 2, so I'm going to put in 2. You can read the gauge here. There's 1, and there's 2, and I'm going to stop right there. You do whatever your nurses tell you to do. They're the experts. Okay? All right, now I'm going to flush it with the saline. The purpose of that is to make sure your line stays clear and there's no blood clots or anything in your way there. All right, there's no real seal on this one, but I'm going to draw back, push it forward. That's kind of like priming your tubing. Okay, make sure there's no air in there. But then again, I'm going to rub that again with alcohol. Then again, if I turn it upside down, after I connect it here, push in and turn clockwise, well then any of the air is going to be up here. And I'm going to put in about a whole vial of this, stopping with 1 left so I don't squish any air in there. So that's about 10 milliliters. All right, we'll leave a little there. Now that goes in the trash. Okay, now it's time to connect my medicine. So I'm going to go back and re-scrub everything with alcohol. plenty of alcohol on that, so I figured it's killing pretty much anything that might have gotten in there. And they're in a plastic bag in the fridge. I just pull them out an hour before I need them so they can warm up, so you don't put cold medication into your vein. That's never really bothered me. I've done it before. I hope you can hear me because this is my last chance of videoing this. All right, now we're going to connect the medicine the same way. Push in and turn. And I like to turn it good because I don't want anything dripping out, but that's probably overkill. Okay, so I'm all connected. I've got my line, my multiple clamps, my air filter, my bag of medicine, my machine, okay, which is nagging me to get it started. So I'm going to click next, that'll wake it up. It says I'm stopped. Click next to advance, okay. What I want to do is hit stop start here in the upper left corner. It's going to ask me, do you want to start the pump? Yes, I do. Okay, it says starting pump, and then it will go through a whole series that you can check, and you can write this down with your nurse's help, that tells you what your parameters are, okay? And when it's satisfied, it'll stop. Now see where it told me when my next dose starts, when it does this initial fire up, it says in 0 minutes. Well, that's not true, it's in about 2.5 hours. So I always go back and check it again. Okay, so I let it do its thing. I've got my parameters memorized, but initially I just wrote them down. Now, if I want to check it, I'll just click next. It's running right now. When it's running low on anything or getting close to out, this yellow light will be flashing. But when it's happy and it's on schedule, this green light will be flashing. Okay, so I'm going to click next and review. My reservoir volume is at 107.4 milliliters. That's more than what I need in 24 hours. Dose volume is 20.7 milliliters. The duration that puts that in is 30 minutes, and that happens once every 8 hours. And then the KVO rate, that's like the constant, is 2 milliliters per hour. So you have constant flow through here. That way things don't get clotted up and you don't have to stop and start and have someone come hang an IV for you. Next dose starts in 2 hours and 23 minutes on 7/27/15 at 4:32 p.m. Or I'm sorry, 2:32 p.m. Okay. Dose rate 41.4 milliliters per hour. And then it says how many milliliters I have total. Okay, and then it goes back to the beginning. So this is done. Okay. And I'm going to move this a little closer so you can kind of get a look at the machine. I'm winging this as far as I hope you're getting a good picture. I don't have anyone here to help me. This is the lock that I was talking about that you use to disconnect this. Once you get used to it, it's no big deal. Okay, now if you need to put in one of these 9-volt batteries, all you do is push this button in and lift that up, the battery will pop out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that even though I don't need one. If your hands are messed up like mine, it's a little difficult, but see, that'll pop right up. So you take the battery out, put it back in the same way, it will beep at you. If you put it in wrong, it will do nothing, just like in your smoke detectors. Okay, and what that's going to do right now is run through its whole startup routine again, and it'll go through all the parameters.